Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today I'll be filming my labour and delivery video. So I apologise, this is 3 weeks late now because Ella is 3 weeks old today, but life has just been so crazy, and like I said in the previous video, Ryan only had a week off, so we had so many visitors and so many health professionals come around within that week. The first week of Ella's life, which was crazy, and I think the second week was pretty crazy. I had health visitor, we had to get her registered, and it's just been mental. So it's calmed down like a bit, and I finally managed to sit down and get ready and film a video since Ryan is home. Before I start explaining what happened, I just want to mention on the 27th of December I actually had a sweep done. I didn't realise in my last pregnancy update I mentioned that I went to the hospital, and I never mentioned that the consultant said I could have a sweep when I was 37 weeks. So I told my midwife, so it was the day after Boxing Day, she came round, and it was really strange to her because she did the sweep on my bed, which is really strange. I'm not used to having stuff done like that, and I bled from that. And I was getting really bad pain as well, and I really thought I was going to go into labour, but then it kind of died down, and I didn't really get much pain, so I didn't think it really did anything. But when she did the sweep, she said she could feel Ella's head. I was like, oh my gosh. I've always been told that she would really low down, but I was like, god damn, you can feel her head. So yeah, I just wanted to add that in. And then I went to the hospital on the 2nd of January with reduced movements, which was, it's not annoying, but it was kind of frustrating because I was booked in for an induction on the 3rd of January. That was my induction day, Friday the 3rd. And then I had to go to hospital on the 2nd because I just wasn't happy, and obviously I always tell people never leave it the day after, so you kind of have to go in. And I was going to be admitted to the hospital, and I was going to stay in since my induction was the next day, but I decided to come home because I still had my hospital bag video to film. I filmed that the day before I went to hospital, and I also needed to add stuff in that. I felt like I didn't say bye properly to Lily, so there's loads of things, and Ella's movements picked up eventually. The reason why I was going to be admitted was when I was on the machine, she only moved 4 times within the space of 40 minutes I think, and that's very unusual for her. She would normally go crazy when I'm on that machine. So I still wasn't happy, so then the midwife had to go and get a doctor to come and see me, and they went through the options of what to do. So at that point I cried. I was by myself in the hospital. I was very anxious and worried that something was wrong with her, because I was like, we're so close to the induction day, it's just tomorrow, and it's typical something what I thought was going wrong. So then the doctor came around. She was lovely. She said that the CTG machine, Ella passed on that and she was fine, her heartbeat and everything. I had no symptoms, my belly was nice and soft, she said. I had no bleeding, so they wasn't concerned, but they said because of my worry and my history and stuff, I can be admitted if I wanted to. But within the space of the time waiting for the doctor to come round, Ella, once I got off the machine, went mental with her movements. I was like, typical. So she definitely picked up, and I was happy enough to go home. And so I went home and got everything ready for the next day. So the 3rd of January was the Friday, I think it was. So basically that night I didn't get to sleep until, I don't know if it's about 11, 12 o'clock. So I roughly, when I woke up, I had 5 hours sleep. Bear in mind I'm going to be induced and I'm going to be giving birth, which is very tiring. So I really didn't have a good night, which was annoying. Your body's going to go through a lot, and I needed sleep and I just couldn't sleep. I think it was worry. I was worried, scared, nervous, all those feelings. So basically I think it was 5 a.m. I got up because I had to get ready. I had to get Lily ready because I had to ring at 8 o'clock, and they said to make sure you're ready to leave the house. So my mum got to my house, I don't know if it was 7 or half 7, think it might have been 7, she got to my house because she was watching Lily, which was really strange seeing her so early. It was still dark outside. So then 8 o'clock came when I was able to ring the hospital, and they was like, yeah, we've got you down, you're next on the list as soon as a bed comes available, but there was no available beds at the moment. And I was like a bit bummed because I really wanted to get in at 8 o'clock, because I was hoping if it was a quick induction I could be home by like late evening. That would have been great. So yeah, the day was just going, like the time was going so slow on Friday, and the hospital servant rang me. I was doing my cleaning, I was trying to keep busy, and then we're just like sitting around waiting. And when I haven't had much sleep and sitting around waiting, I just felt so tired. So I ended up having a nap. But during the nap and before the nap, I should mention, I was getting Braxton X and lightning pain downstairs. So I was talking to Ella, I was like, come on baby, let's do it together, like you come naturally, because the hospital was just taking ages. And I never had that with Lily. They got me in straight away at 8 o'clock in the morning. So it was like, it's shocked to the system that I had to wait, and it was like annoying as well, because I wanted to hurry up and get in there to hurry up and get back out. But anyways, when they I eventually had a nap on the sofa. I nodded off. I think it was just exhaustion, and I thought to myself, if I can try and get like an hour or 2, then it might get me through labour, because obviously you need to have energy, and I did not have much energy. So when I was sleeping, I think it was around 2:15, my phone went off, and it was the hospital, and they said, you can come in now, we have a bed. It's like typical, just as I'm like asleep. So we got to the hospital around 3 p.m. My mum dropped us off, and I think the sun was setting about then. Yeah, I think it was. I remember it being like really bright. But anyways, so we got there, they did all your observations, and then we had to wait around an hour for the heart monitor machine. So what they tend to do is they put you on the heart monitor machine, make sure baby's happy, then they put the ProPes in, or whatever induction method they're using, and then they put you back on the heart monitor machine, and then you're like free to walk. So basically that machine was took up by other ladies on the induction suite, so I had to wait, I think it was just over an hour for that. So when I was put on the machine, just to like make sure Ella is okay, so I had to be on the machine for 30 minutes, and within that time I was getting like Braxton X, and they were about 60 to 70% coming up on the machine. That's what they said, like how strong they were. Which was good, because I was like, well, at least my body's like, seems like it's getting ready even before starting anything. So half an hour was on that, everything was fine. Then the lady came around and put the ProPes in. That was like my first anxious time, because it means like it's starting the ball rolling to getting her out, and I was really like scared. But it wasn't as bad, I think, because I already know what they're going to do, and it's like my 3rd induction, so I do have an idea what they're doing. And it didn't hurt as much as I think when they did it with Lily, so which was good. So they put the ProPes in, that was fine. Then I had to go back on the machine again for half an hour, just to make sure Ella's heart rate and she was coping okay with the ProPes in there. And I like to mention as well, when I was laying on the bed, within, I think it was like an hour altogether being on the machine, my back was absolutely killing. Now, I've never had like back pain within labour. I've had back pain, obviously normal back pain, but my back was like absolutely killing, and I don't know if it was the ProPes that was working straight away, because it was just like I was just in so much agony with it. So I was really happy to come off the machine, so I was able to walk around, because I've always been told the more you move, the more it helps things get going if you walk around. So after being on that for half an hour, we went walking around the induction suite. Normally I would go off the induction suite and walk around the hospital, but I just thought I'd just walk around the induction suite to start off with, and it depends how long I'm here for, then I'll venture out even more. So after we was walking around, we came back because I was getting really bad contractions. They were coming really bad and really quickly, as in like I had to stop when we was walking because they were just so strong, which was a bit strange because contractions are supposed to like build up. They're supposed to be like less painful and then they get more and more and more painful, whereas mine were like really painful from the start. And obviously I was a bit concerned because I've done it previously and they're not normally supposed to be like that, so I was a bit worried, but I didn't say anything. I just carried on until the midwife came around. Contractions were that painful. I was sick, I think it was 2 to 3 times on the induction suite. Now I'm never sick in the induction suite. I'm normally sick in labour. The pain tends to make me sick. I wasn't surprised I was sick, but I was sick from the amount of pain I was in, and we're talking that the ProPest must have been in for about an hour or two, so not long, and the pain was really intense. It was that intense. After being sick I would shake as well, and I couldn't stop shaking, and I think it's my body trying to cope with the intense amount of pain. And I remember in labour with Lily, when I was like shaking, that was like really close to giving birth, and I was like, oh my gosh, like she can't be coming this quick. This is a bit too quick. We got the midwife to come around because the contractions were every 1.5 to 2 minutes, so they were coming really quick and fast, and they're not supposed to be that close together until you're in like really established labour. So because the contractions were coming really quickly and I was getting pressure down there, which means that baby is coming if you got the pressure, because then you'll get the pressure and then you start to push. So I was like really anxious because I was like, oh my god, is she going to come this quickly? And I wasn't even on labour ward, and you can't have the babies on induction suite because you're kind of in like a room and there's like 4 of the ladies, like you've got curtains around you, and there was like 4 of the ladies in that room. So that's just basically to get the induction going, and then you get moved over to labour suite. So I was like, god, are we going to go over there already? So I asked to be checked. So the midwife came, checked me, because she thought like, I don't know, she thought like I was lying, like I wasn't in as much pain as I was saying. But when she seen like I was throwing up, I couldn't stop shaking, she checked, and apparently I don't think I was dilating as quickly as I was supposed to according to my pain. My pain was like, I should have been like so many centimetres gone, and I think I was only like 1 to 2. So she put me back on the heart monitor to make sure Ella's heart rate was fine, and to see how quick the contractions were coming and how like fast they were, basically so she could like have a record of it. So the contractions were hitting like 120 to 130. So before, when I said that the first time when I put on it, when I got there was like 60 odd, and now there was like double that already. So they were very, very intense. So I was in that much pain, and I was like so determined to have no pain relief, so I was like having to breathe through them. And that's when you know your contractions are bad, when you're having to like breathe through them, because you can't think of anything else. I forgot to mention, we didn't actually film anything at the hospital. I didn't get any clips because the pain was so intense from the start. Ryan, bless his heart, barely had time to pee because he was constantly at the side of me. I was squeezing his hand, I was trying to breathe through them. So we really didn't have much time to get the camera out. It was constant. Midwives kept coming into me and checking, and yeah, basically I just didn't have any time. It was the last thing on my mind was to get my camera out. I was just trying to make sure Ella was okay, and why was I getting so much pain straight away. After being on the monitor for 40 minutes, she came around and checked it, and she said that every time I'd have a contraction, Ella's heart rate dropped. So, which I was like, oh my gosh, I've never had that before. It was quite smooth sailing with Lily. So that was really anxious because it was the fact I was getting so much pain that was really, really intense. She could tell how like strong my contractions were, and I think that's why Ella's heart rate kept dropping, because like I said, they're supposed to gradually build up so you and baby get used to your contraction. So she decided to take the ProPest out, and she got me to lay on my left side because of Ella's heart rate. Apparently if you laid like on one of your sides, because I was on my back, it would help her heart rate come down. So once I think I was on my side for, I don't know, like 20 minutes, she came back and checked. So Ella's heart rate went back up and it was normal again, so she was happy the ProPest was out and I was like laying on my side. But I was still in so much pain. Even though they took the ProPest out, my contractions were still really, really bad, and it was really like uncomfortable to get contractions laying on your side for me. I just like to be either moving or laying on my back basically. So I think hours were going by and I was still having really strong contractions, and I was still having the shakes. And the one thing I remember is I was having the contractions, so obviously I'm in a lot of pain, I'm shaking, and I need to be sick. So I'm having to like sit up, throw up, and basically the contractions were a lot worse. And I think Ella's heart rate dipped every time like I would sit up, because every time I'd throw up because my stomach's already contracting, and then like it's hurting as well because I'm throwing up everywhere. I think altogether I must have felt like 3 to 4 sick buckets, which is gross, but it just shows you how much pain my body was in. It just really couldn't handle it. So it got to around about 9 p.m, so probably about 4 o'clock we got in there. So like 5 hours later, being in the induction ward, we went round to labour suite, which is pretty quick because last time I was in the induction suite for like over 24 hours. So I was only there for 5 hours and then we went round. So they was going to break my waters, or they was going to leave me a bit and see if my waters would break naturally with the amount of pain I was in. So I can remember when we got round to labour suite, they wheeled me in a wheelchair because I was in a lot of pain, I didn't really want to walk. And when we got round there, I remembered the room we went in. Now, in the hospital that I go to, I was born in that hospital, and both my babies, Riley and Lily, were born there. So I remember the rooms I had them in, and when we went into the room they was putting me in was room 10. Now room 10 sticks in my head a lot because that is the room that I had Riley in. So there was a lot of mixed emotions when we went in there. I instantly felt it and remembered straight away that that was the room Riley was born in. I always remember the room 10, and the reception is right opposite. So it was quite emotional. Ryan found it. I think Ryan found it more emotional than me. But I think what it was is he could think more about being in the room and it being kind of sad. But I think it helped in a way the amount of pain I was in, because I couldn't think too much about it because I was just in so much pain. My head was just constantly thinking about the pain. But when I'd get a break from the pain, which wasn't very often, then I did think about it, and I did mention it to the midwife, and she was lovely. She says we can go to a different room if we wanted to because of obviously having Riley in there. But to me it was kind of nice in a way, because as much as it was heartbreaking being in that room because of the memories we had in there, it was kind of nice as well because it's kind of it felt like he was there with us as well, with him being born in that room. And yeah, I don't know, I just felt like I didn't want to leave the room, so we ended up staying in the room. It was quite emotional, being in that exact same bed, and it was the same layout as it was when Riley was there. I think the only thing different was when babies are born, they put them under this heated thing to keep them warm and do their checks and everything, and that was the only thing that obviously wasn't in there when Riley was born. So yeah, it was very strange, but kind of nice at the same time being in there. So yeah, I had to deal with that. So also being in that room, it kind of felt like Riley was like watching over his little sister, and I was really hoping that she was going to be okay with us being in the room, in the sense of like kind of his spirit was there with us, like going through it as a family. So it was really nice, but very, very emotional indeed. Now, I don't know if I've mentioned my contractions every couple of minutes from the start, from the induction suite right up until she was here. I only got like between 30 seconds and a minute break. So if you can imagine like the amount of pain I was in for a long time, it was so exhausting. When I got in there, they wanted me to like stand next to the bed, which I was wondering why, but I think it's to like help her head get down and engaged, I think. So I was standing there, and then I was getting contractions, and I think the midwife, she was trying to put the heart monitor on me, but then I was getting a contraction and like I had nothing to like hold on to, so I was like, can I hold on to you? And she's like, yeah, that's fine. So I'm holding on to this midwife, I'm trying to breathe through these contractions. But so yeah, eventually once I got through that, Ryan was there trying to help, telling me to breathe through them, and then all of a sudden I felt like a little gush of something come out of there, and I didn't know if it was my waters, so I looked. I think it was like my bloody show, she said. So she wanted me to take everything off down there, and I was just standing there and it was just dripping down my leg. This is so gross but it is a labour and delivery story, so you know, you want all the details. So yeah, I remember it dripping down my leg, and bless the midwife, she's trying to clean me up and wipe it all off. And then I was able, I think she put a pad on me just in case anything else came, and to keep an eye on it. But I was really hoping it was my waters. I was like, damn, it's not my waters. But that means it's like coming closer. So after a while of standing up with the contractions, my legs kept going really weak. So I asked the midwife if I can get on the bed. I didn't know if I was allowed to get on the bed. I didn't know if there was a reason why she kept wanting me to stand. But she said, yeah, of course you can get on the bed. Once I got on the bed, I think the midwife came round and checked me. I can't think what time this was. I think it was like 10 o'clock, maybe 10 o'clock or 9:30. But she checked to see how dilated I was. So she said I was 3 to 4 centimetres dilated, and she said that she would break my waters around 12 a.m. if they didn't break naturally. So I think, yeah, I remember, I think it was like we had to wait a couple of hours, which, like, when you're in that amount of pain and they're coming so quickly, the time literally drags. It felt like I was there for like days. It felt so long, even though apparently my labour went really quickly. It didn't feel like it went really quickly when you're in that much pain, because you just want to be out of the pain and it's just constant. So come 12 o'clock, she came round and she decided to break my waters. And I remember there was like so much fluid that came out, and I can remember every time like I would slope down the bed more, I'd push myself back up, and loads of like gush would come out, and it just felt so gross. And after she did that, I think I asked like how quickly my contractions were coming, and they were still coming like every 2 to 3 minutes, and it was like very painful. Even the midwife that came round did say like they are really painful. You are getting really strong, intense ones from the start. Basically, they've just been constantly really painful. So at this point I was really gonna like give in to pain relief, any sort of pain relief, because I just needed a break. So I gave in and had gas in air, which to me still is pretty pointless. It don't do anything other than make me sick, and it didn't do anything other than make me sick, because it's just one of them. It's supposed to let me be a bit drowsy, but it just doesn't help with my pain. I tried to just like bite down on the like mouthpiece more, to be honest, than like taking the gas in, because every time I take the gas in I'd feel really sick, and I'd be sick because I must have been sick like 8 times, 9 times on labour suite because of the intense pain, and then because of the gas in air. So yeah, that didn't really do anything. As much as I had the gas in air, I wasn't using it. I just had it next to me. I felt like, because some of the contractions are like really painful, and then some of them, they would be painful, but then they would be like a lot quicker. So I loved those ones. So the Gasnier for me was just like a backup. So yeah, I just didn't use it that much. So come 12:30, 1 o'clock, I broke down crying because I was so physically and mentally exhausted from the pain and just everything. I just wanted a break, and to like basically get her out, because I was just so tired. I was like really tired from lack of sleep, and then obviously really tired from the pain I've been in. I asked what other pain relief there were, and she said the diamorphine or the epidural. Now I am so not having the epidural because I'm terrified of that. So I ended up giving into having the diamorphine, which I'm really like upset with myself. I still am now, like still don't really like to talk about it too much, because I was so determined to have no pain relief, and I went like nearly 9 hours without no pain relief. And then I gave in to having that, and it's just one of them. I know the side effects, well not side effects, but I know it makes you feel so drowsy, and I had it with Riley, and it wasn't good. Like I wanted to take everything in, and I couldn't, because I was so like woohoo off my head type thing, and I hate feeling like that. Plus that made me sick as well. So they ended up giving me the anti-sickness and the diamorphine together in an injection in my leg, because they said it will help with my sickness, which it never does, and it didn't help at all. I was still constantly sick. So it was so after having the diamorphine, which I was just so adamant not to have it, but then I decided just last minute before they was going to come in, can I have the diamorphine, because I was still crying, and I was just like, I just need a break. I'm just going to have it, because I just can't cope. And to me, I thought I was still going to be in pain for hours. But then it turned out that 20-30 minutes later, I started feeling pressure down there, really, really intense pressure. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're taking the mick. Like, because the pressure means she's coming, and I've just given in to having the diamorphine, and those side effects last a long time. So with the pressure, I felt like I needed to push, but I was just like, god damn, if I would have known I would have only had to do like another 30 minutes to an hour, then I would have never had the diamorphine. I only had the diamorphine because I thought I was going to be in labour until like 7 a.m. in the morning, and it could give me a bit of a break. But then she's coming straight away. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I was very annoyed at that as well. I was just like, oh my gosh, I should have just waited. I'm still like to this day like annoyed at myself that I didn't wait. But I suppose when you're in that amount of pain and you just needed a break, and I just was crying, I was an emotional wreck. I just wanted her out. So yeah. So I was pushing for not that long, but it seemed like it was ages when you're actually going through it. So every contraction I was getting, I was pushing, and she was getting further and further down. She's like, I can see her here, and I'm like, oh my god, she's gonna be here then. But it was really, really intense. I was like biting down on the plastic bit of the Gasnier, and then I was like ripping on Ryan's jacket. He was next to me, and I was just like biting down on that, and then gripping that. I think my other hand was on the bed, and I was like going like biting down so much, and obviously pushing, very, very intense. But it got to 1:44 a.m. in the morning, and little Ella was born. She come out crying. Oh my god, it was so emotional, and they put her straight on my chest. She was just so like sticky, and you know, like with all the stuff on her. She had a lot of vernix on her, like all on her back, her hair and everything like that. But you kind of didn't think of that at the time. You're just so happy that she's crying and she's basically alive on me, because of obviously what happened with Riley. You can never like, there's just no better feeling than when you give birth and your babies cry, and then they're on you and you can hear them breathing, and it was just amazing basically. And we had a lot of skin to skin, because at one point the midwife went to get scales I don't know, she went to get something anyways, and she was gone for quite a while. I think it was like over half an hour. Ryan managed to cut the cord, so that was good. He's cut the cord on all our babies now. And then I delivered the placenta. So they gave me, I think they gave me the injection. Yeah, I think they gave me the injection to deliver the placenta. And normally I had to push, but she just like pulled on it, basically, like gently pulled on it. She didn't like yank it out. She gently pulled on it, and it was like you can kind of feel it going out. It's so gross. It's kind of gross but cool at the same time. And so the placenta came out all intact. It was all good. She actually was like showing us it. I asked like to see the placenta because I think she has to weigh it and check it anyways. So she's showing us like the sac Ella was in, and then she's showing us like all the placenta and the cord, and it was quite cool. It's like, it's kind of like graphic of all the blood, but then cool at the same time, because it's like amazing how a baby grows inside you in that. So the midwife was absolutely lovely, but I did end up having stitches. I had internal stitches, exactly what I had with Lily. I was like, typical. So that was fun. I had to get sewn up. That was interesting. They numb you and then they sew you up, and I could just see like red thread just like going in and out as she's doing this down there, and I was like, oh my gosh. it wasn't too good, but it's all fine now. And I totally forgot to mention, so when Ella was born, they weighed her. She was £6 1 ounce. I can't believe I forgot to say that. So yeah, £6 1 ounce she weighed, which I was shocked. I was like, oh my god, because I thought she was going to be like £5 something. So to say she was £6 1, I was like, little chunk. No wonder I was in so much pain. And like I had backache, and yeah, she was so heavy inside me, because that's like a really heavy baby for me to have with me being so small. But she was so tiny as well. But yeah, I was just very shocked. So at this point, still with Ella being out of me, I was still very drowsy from the dimorphine. It took hours and hours to die down. So I remember at one point Ella was on me and I was going to throw up. So Ryan literally had to get her, and I just threw up everywhere. So that wasn't good. So then the midwife, bless her, she's like, I'll go and speak to the doctor or the consultant, one of them, and ask if I can give you the stronger dose of anti-sickness, because obviously the one didn't work. And she came back with the injection and it didn't do anything. Again, it's so annoying. The anti-sickness injections, even the stronger one, just didn't help at all. I don't know what it is. But I was sick constantly. I couldn't keep water down. I tried to take some toast. I couldn't keep that down. So I literally was sick. It's got to be in between 10 and 15 times within the whole process of being in the hospital. I just couldn't keep anything down. I was like, what is wrong with me? So that was really bad, because I was trying to build up my energy, and I was trying to force myself out of bed to get back to like, I really wanted to shower and everything, and I couldn't. So I just had to lay there. It just felt really drowsy. I think I got up like 3 times. I forced myself to get out of bed, and I nearly fainted on the floor because I was so weak. So that wasn't such a good idea. I should have probably stayed in bed, but I'm just so determined to like move. So around, I think it got to around about 4 a.m, 5 a.m, a midwife came round, and she said that she needs the room that I was in, basically. So she suggested putting me on a ward, which I was like, really didn't want to go on a ward, because when you're on a ward, they take hours basically for you to go home, and I really wanted to go home like as soon as possible, to get back to Lily, and so my mum could get home, because she didn't have much sleep either. So yeah, basically we had to get moved out of that room, and we got moved into a new labour room that wasn't as like, basically the room I was in was so they can keep an eye on you a lot more if you're like high risk in pregnancy. So I got moved to like a low risk type thing in the labour suite, which was really nice, and I finally managed to shower. Oh my gosh, that feeling of having a shower was amazing. And then we got dressed, and then we waited, and I think I got discharged around 7:30. I got home for about 8:30. So I think that was basically everything that happened. Ella was drowsy as well. The midwife did say because I had diamorphine, it can affect Ella. That was the pure fact of I didn't want it. But she was very sleepy. She slept for like 4 hours straight in the hospital. Didn't even wait to feed or anything. So yeah, I definitely think it affected her, which I am bummed about. Oh, and I did forget to mention, I did breastfeed Ella when she came out, and then I was breastfeeding, and then she would have a bottle, and then breastfeed, and she'd have a bottle. So I was like in the hospital, I was mixed feeding her. So I think I've covered everything. So I am like disappointed. One, I didn't get to film anything. So I really do apologise. I didn't get any footage, even for myself. I wanted it for my memories. So I'm going to have to film this last bit on my phone. So I apologise for the quality because my camera's just died. So I'm going to include some pictures at the end of this video. We did manage to take pictures when Ella was out. So I'll show you those. And yes, I think that was everything. Labour and delivery story. I will show you my belly if I can, because my belly has gone down so much. I'm 3 weeks postpartum. Is it postpartum? I think today. And my belly is so flat. This is how flat my belly's gone already. It's crazy. Like, still, my belly button's still poking out a bit. Don't you think that's crazy to say? Like 3 weeks ago I gave birth, like the weight has just dropped off me. But then again, I haven't sat down, so I'm constantly on the go. But yeah, I just thought that's crazy how quickly it dropped off me. I didn't expect it to like drop off so quick. And I think I'm nearly back down to pre-pregnancy weight, pretty close to that. So yeah, I thought that's everything. But thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.